Although the scientists have been discovering so many things, if a person doesn't go to school, stays at home, that person will not know anything about the world. And even learning mathematics has become a help in learning to think properly, rationally, logically. And also through mathematics, now the scientists are discovering many things. That's a method of thinking. So you see, we begin to gain more meaning out of the world. And how do we know about the world? All that we know comes from our senses. What we know about the world comes from our eyes, or our ears, or our nose, or our tongues, or the body. Whole body becomes a sense organ, the sense of touch. So we come to know about the world through the senses. And then we also have a brain that helps in the thinking and reasoning. So whatever we perceive through the senses, we also begin to give meaning to what we perceive. And that is done by the thinking part of the brain. So you see, we get meaning about the world by the thinking process. If we cannot think properly, then we don't understand much about the world. And if we don't go to school, then that also prevents us from learning things. And to know about what is happening in the world around us, we make use of newspapers, or we make use of radios or television. All these things help us to learn more about the world. But it was the Buddha, through this process of evolution of consciousness, and that is done mainly through meditation. The Buddha made use of meditation to improve the mind. And when the mind is improved, then the mind begins to have certain powers which normal people don't have. And it is these powers that help the Buddha to understand things about the world. During the time of the Buddha, there were yogis in India who were very advanced in meditation. And because of this advancement, they had psychic powers that the normal or common people don't have. And through these psychic powers, they began to know more about the world, and they could do many things. This is why even at that time there were people who could even travel in space and even read other people's minds, or hear sounds normal people can't hear, or see things that normal people can't see. So powers like that, there were people even before the Buddha was born, there were yogis who had certain psychic powers. But the Buddha was trying to go beyond that. And that is how he became a Buddha. And Buddha is really reaching the highest level in the process of evolution. So during the time of the Buddha, the other yogis were really what we can call Superman. And the Buddha used a word that means Superman or superhuman. That word is Uttari Manussa. Uttari means super, Manussa means the human being. So the Uttari Manussas were the people who had psychic powers. But the Buddha went beyond this. And it is by going beyond that, he came to another level which the Buddha called Arya. Today, that word Arya is used or translated as noble. But that is not noble. The better translation would be something like supernormal. So it's a supernormal level, which is really, it can also be called, it's not a super, it is a superhuman, and it could be called something like divine. The word that the Buddha used to refer to that word divine is Brahma. So the practice of the religious life, which is to live in the more evolved way, it was called Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means the divine living. And the evolved mind was called Brahma Vihara. Vihara again means dwelling, the divine dwelling. Their dwelling doesn't mean a house, but the dwelling means you dwell in high-level thoughts. You dwell in certain thoughts. So that is Metta, Karuna, Mudita and Upekkha. Metta is universal benevolence, universal goodwill, practicing goodwill towards all beings, not just for your family or even your nation. It is even going beyond the nation to all beings without exception. That is the real metta. It's a spreading of interest in the welfare of all beings. And karuna is the depth dimension. That means how deeply are you interested in the welfare of others. So the real karuna is where you begin to stop distinguishing between oneself and others. Others